Welcome, folks. This is Your Mac Life for Wednesday, March the 4th, 2020, show number 1246. I'm Shawn King, joined as always by my beautiful wife, Melissa. Hello, Melissa.
Hello, Shawn.
How are you?
Good.
On tonight's show, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. We're going to talk about coronavirus and WWDC. We talked about it last week, but everyone finally caught up to Jim and I. WWDC is going to get canceled. I can 99% sure that we'll talk to Jim about that. Steve Wozniak as patient zero, speaking of coronavirus. Woz said something so remarkably stupid, and I'm willing to talk about him. I generally don't talk about Steve Wozniak anymore because, frankly, just for the fanboys, he's not interesting anymore. He doesn't do anything interesting, so I don't have any interest in him. He was one of the founders of Apple.
Oh.
Removable batteries for the iPhone. Is that a good idea? An idea whose time should come? iPhone batteries have never been removable.
Why are they thinking of doing that?
Because the European Union is thinking about mandating it for all phones, not just iPhones, but all phones. We'll talk about that later on the show. Maybe you want to stick around and listen to some of this stuff.
I have to cook dinner.
And then we'll talk about Apple's best night mode photos. They wrapped up their contest. They had 6 photos. We're going to talk about them. Melissa, you haven't seen these photos, have you?
I'm sorry, which ones?
You haven't seen the night mode photos that Apple just awarded prizes to. We're going to show them to Melissa and get her reaction live in real time on the Starting Point photography segment. Now, this past Saturday was, February 29th, Leap Day. It was our first Leap Day together. So happy about that. But it was also, I lost where'd it go? Oh, wrong window. This window. It was also, Leap Day shines a spotlight on Rare Disease Day. Every last day of February for the last 8 years, has been Rare Disease Day. Of the 7,000 diseases classified as rare, only about 400 of them have an effective treatment. And I bring this up because Maik Fest, hopefully Maik, I'm saying your name correctly, if not, my apologies, wrote on the YouTube channel last week. She says, lately I've been hearing a strange background noise in the segments with you and your wife. I only hear it when she is not talking. Is it possible she's breathing into her microphone? I have no idea what else could it be. Melissa, what's the connection between Rare Disease Day and the sound you make on the microphone?
I'll just try and keep it short. Yes, I have a very rare disease. It's very rare. It's a woman's disease. 99% of people that have it are women. And it's called idiopathic subglottis stenosis. And it was misdiagnosed, as all women, I'm on a Facebook group, have said they were misdiagnosed to have allergies, or that they had asthma, or all kinds of things, or that they were imagining it. But what it is that the trachea starts to narrow. And by the time I got taken to emergency, when I was so bad that I could hardly breathe, and I got rushed to emergency in the ambulance with oxygen mask on, through a very, very diligent resident at the hospital, a young woman. She just could not figure out what it was. She sent me to an ear, nose, throat specialist colleague of hers, and he put a scope down my throat and he diagnosed it in an instant. And finally I had a diagnosis. So I had to be rushed into hospital, and I was put on steroids. Oh man, did I ever feel great.
That's why she's built the way she is.
No. And by the way, even though I had when I went to the surgeon and he did a scope and he had a much bigger screen, and I was a bit more settled into what was happening to me, I saw the amount of the trachea that I was breathing through. And I said to him, well, how am I doing yoga for an hour and a half? And he said, I don't know how you're doing that. So he said I would be on the floor if I was doing that, but somehow I was, and now it's come back. So I went in and they do there's different different ways of dealing with it, but you can get a tracheal resection, which I'm not ready for. But they go in either with a laser or they cut the trachea open and they dilate and expand a balloon in your throat. And my treatment has lasted for about 3 years. And now it's come back. So I have to go.
3 years a good length of time, a short length of time?
It varies. Some women on my Facebook group, they'll get 6 dilations a year. Some women, some have tracheal resections, and then it will come back above or below with the tracheal resection. It's very serious and life-threatening.
It's actually a disease, not a physical condition.
No, it's a disease.
It closes off your airway. What about your vocal cords?
Well, mine is subglottic, so it's just below the vocal cords.
Okay.
Yeah. But some people, like if I had a tracheal resection, my voice would be different. And the surgeon said to me, "Do you like to sing?" And I said, "I love to sing." Anyway, I'm not taking that very dramatic route, and I possibly never will.
No.
But so I'm sorry about that. I know it's gotten to the point where you can hear my breathing on the microphone.
There's no reason to be sorry. So say again what it is. Subglottal stegosaurus ipso facto.
Idiopathic means they don't know what causes it.
Okay.
Subglottic means, or subglottis means it's below my glottis, and stenosis is just a medical term for something that's closing in.
So at some point this month, we'll go to the hospital and you'll get the balloon dilation thing.
Well, I have to check. I'm hoping
That's the plan.
That's the plan. I'm hoping he'll do a Mattern, which is the cutting of the stenosis. And then after that, I'm going back for the first time ever after my surgery to get some steroid shots into my trachea.
Will your neck get thick?
No.
Okay, good. Because you have a lovely neck. Les Posen, is it restricted to XX humans? Is it restricted to women?
There are very very few cases of men getting it. Yep.
So it is mostly a female disease, which is probably, unfortunately, why it gets misdiagnosed so often.
Yep.
We were talking about this before, and as men, we don't realize this. Every woman would tell you any number of horror stories with regards to this, of how, especially, obviously, male doctors minimize women's, not issues, but when women come in with complaints, they don't take them as seriously as they do women.
And then black women, which
It's
are
even worse,
it's even worse for black women. I've seen an interview about that, how black women, and there are women on the Facebook group. Like when I went in and the surgeon said to me, "Well, it's time for a tracheal resection." We were together there that day, and I was devastated. Yeah. And then it took me, even though I'm a healthcare professional, it took me a long time. I mulled it over and I was speaking with Shawn and I realized, I said, I'm not ready for this. So I'm very open about it now. I was very, very quiet. I didn't talk about it for years. But now I think it's important because if I open up about it, there could be a woman listening that's going, hey,
Yep.
that's happening to me and I don't know what's going on. Because if you're being given puffers and stuff like that, it is not going to make any difference to your stenosis whatsoever.
It'll be a temporary hit.
Yes, and I got very, very ill with a horrendous flu about 3 years ago. And so I had this, and because that flu resulted in me not being able to breathe, I got the diagnosis. So that's
and interestingly enough, in connection with the coronavirus issues, a woman here in Vancouver was diagnosed today, 80-year-old woman. Melissa and I were planning on going over to the big city during spring break in a couple of weeks, but there's an honest concern. The odds of us, Melissa, contracting anything in the city are small, but they're not zero. And because we'd be going to play, Vancouver is has a large Asian population. Although Canada was reported that British Columbia has tested more people than all of America combined Still, there might be people out there who have not been tested, who are carriers, and we would be going places where some of those people would congregate. At the very
You could
least,
be asymptomatic with this virus.
that's right. Yeah, you might not even know you've got it, and you could be, spreading it around. And so we're going to go to malls and stores and restaurants. Ow! Dog just kicked me. And there's a small chance, but again, not a zero chance, that someone in one of those places could get this. And according to what we know about the coronavirus, it could severely affect you with your stegosaurus disease.
You'll never get the name right.
I'm doing it on purpose. Come on.
Oh, yes. No, I'm very nervous.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah, and I completely understand that. I mean, I think like I said, I know the odds are very, very low, but they're not zero. So
No.
I have no problem with you saying, let's not go to the city. Let's not take that risk, as small as it might be, and expose you to something like that, which is a shame, but an understandable precaution.
Yeah.
And this feeds into what we're going to talk about later with Jim about Worldwide Developer Conference. All kinds of conferences are being canceled now. Facebook's F8 conference, Google's I/O conference. So the other big
The
tech
Olympics,
people.
no?
The Olympics might be. They haven't been yet. Some other big conferences aren't being canceled. South by Southwest in Austin, Texas starts next week. They're not canceling that. I guarantee you attendance will be way down. The Geneva Auto Show wasn't canceled, but attendance was next to zero.
Seriously.
And this is one of the biggest auto shows in the world. There's all kinds of things that are being canceled and are probably going to be canceled. And I think as Apple folks, the Worldwide Developer Conference will be canceled. I think there's lots of other things that are at issue. Monty says, Melissa, do you have an emergency oxygen tank mask at home just in case?
I don't. No. I don't.
Why not? You don't think it's necessary, or?
I think if I got anywhere, I mean, the last time when I got rushed to hospital, I had been sick and I was rushing downstairs in the morning to sit on my front step and just get some air in. But the hospital's close, and I know now that I walk in and I say I've got subglottic stenosis. I need to be on oxygen, and then I would have to get to the surgeon through the emergency route.
Now, Monty says, sounds like you've found medical professionals who know what's going on and how to treat it. Yes, to a certain degree. One of the downsides is that your doctor in the city is a surgeon, so he wants to cut. That's what they want to do. So he wasn't really happy with you when you said you didn't want to have the surgery.
Oh, no. Dr. Durham, he wasn't unhappy. He understood that was my decision. What he's saying to me is, you might as well have a tracheal resection because you're going to be back in a few years and you're going to have to get procedure after procedure after procedure.
And isn't there an issue that of age after a certain period of time, if you're in your late 70s, you don't want to be going under general anesthetic or having this kind of surgery, right?
Suppose not.
So there's that issue too.
But we don't know. Maybe there'll be a cure one day.
So anyone out there who's having issues, please go see your doctor. I know it's harder in the States than it is in Canada. If you have any more questions with us, you're welcome to send Melissa an email, melissa@yourmaclifeshow.com. When we come back, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. All that and much more coming up. This is Your Mac Life. Welcome back, folks. Thank you guys very much for joining me here on this Wednesday evening. On our phone, as always, we have our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. Jim, how you doing?
I'm doing so damn good.
Now, just to be clear, will come as a surprise to no one. You are in a bar right now.
I am. I just stepped outside the bar because you told me I needed to go somewhere quieter.
Also, to be clear, how long have you been at the bar?
What time is it?
It's 10 to 6.
I've been here for 4 hours.
So I just want to let everybody know. And by the way, folks, for a Canadian, being at a bar for 4 hours is no big deal, okay? We pace ourselves really
breakfast.
Well. That's breakfast. We start at noon. It's no big deal. We pace ourselves quite well.
And then we come back.
Oh, exactly. You go home for a change of clothes. You come back,
Yeah.
So it seems like everyone else has caught up to the conversation you and I had last week with regards to coronavirus and WWDC. Have you heard anything that would change your mind? Do you believe, yes or no, that Apple will cancel WWDC in this coming June?
So I saw today that Google canceled I/O.
Yep.
I mean, that is huge.
Yep.
That is a huge conference. I don't know that Apple really has any choice at this point, but what seems interesting to me is that everybody is looking 30 days out before they make their decision. That's what it seems like to me. So if you're looking 30 days out, Apple still has some time.
Now, that being said, do you think it's a little irresponsible of Apple not to make this announcement in a more timely manner? I mean, people have to make hotel arrangements and flights and that kind of stuff.
Well, no, remember now that Apple has not opened registration yet.
True.
So if they decide to open registration, then I assume they're going ahead with the entire event.
Yeah.
But they haven't. So, some of these other conferences have opened registration, and they have sent, notes to people saying that the event is now canceled.
Yeah.
That's a different thing than what Apple has to deal with right now.
I'm surprised that South by Southwest is going on next week. Are you?
I am. I really am. I don't know that the best decision for any conference right now is to move forward. I don't think it's a good decision.
Well, I'm especially surprised by South by Southwest, if only because it is a much more social conference than others. There's a lot more of a bar scene, party scene afterwards in the evenings than WWDC or F8 or Google I/O. So that, to me, would make it seem to be more incumbent upon them to cancel the show. South by Southwest really can't be a virtual event, unlike maybe Google I/O or F8 or WWDC. So I think this is going to be the bellwether. If South by Southwest goes on next week, goes for a week, and then in 3 weeks later we start hearing about attendees at South by Southwest by the end of March having gotten sick, that shuts everyone down for the rest of the year.
But, I mean, come on. If that happens, they have bigger problems than that.
Well, if that happens, they've got a problem, if nothing else, of the lawsuits that are going to happen. People are going to sue South by Southwest if they got sick. So,
I mean, some companies are limiting travel to within the U.S., and they're trying to do different things, but I don't know if it's enough. Which is why I'm wondering about WWDC. I mean, I realize, if we're looking a month out, we're looking to the end of March and then the end of April. Is it going to calm down by then? I mean, I get why Apple hasn't canceled it yet. But, man, oh man, the prudent decision right now seems to be to cancel everything.
Yeah,
which is not what South by Southwest is doing.
And that's why I wish Apple would step up and cancel it well in advance. Don't even take any chances. Don't just and no, it's not going to settle down by June. It is going to, according to the CDC, while cases in China have been lessening, there have been blooms all over the place. Italy, Iran. My favorite event is the MotoGP motorcycle racing. They've already canceled Qatar races next week, and they're canceling Thailand in 3 weeks, mostly because of the large number of Italian motorcycle people who will be at those races. And they're trying to prevent that. Qatar has said, if you're from Italy and you come to Qatar, we're putting your ass in quarantine for 2 weeks. It's just simple as that. If we see an Italian passport, you're going straight to the quarantine zone. Do not pass go. So a lot of things are being canceled, rightfully so. And I don't think Apple waiting until the end of March or the middle of April is going to make any changes in this. It's going to be just as significant now as it would be then. So they might as well do it now.
We don't know that, though. And Apple will hold off as long as they can to see how things are. Maybe, by mid-April, this will be under control. We can hope. But I just, the way it's as you said, blooming in different areas of the world, I just don't know that it will.
And by Apple sending out messages to their employees that parts are going to be unavailable and sending out messages to the investor community that we won't hit our guidance, Apple's sending a bunch of signals out there that they recognize the seriousness of this. A lot of their suppliers have shut down. One of their camera manufacturer companies have scaled back and or shut down. There's a lot of things going on. Apple knows the seriousness of this. There's no reason to believe that Apple is sticking their head in the sand. They know how serious this is, so they've got to cancel WWDC, I think, before the middle of March.
Well, I don't know if the middle of March is reasonable. Does Apple know how serious this is? Of course they do.
Yep.
I mean, they get it. They understand. But, is it something that they need to cancel by the middle of March? I don't think so. They could go into April. As long as they don't start taking registration, then they have a very good opportunity to cancel it. Now, my opinion, I think they should.
Yeah.
Because would I feel comfortable going there with all of these people from around the world?
Yep.
No. Would I want to be in a room with all of these people, even from California?
Yep.
No. There's lots of cases in California, too. So, I get that, but I don't know that it's necessary to do by April.
Well,
by mid-March.
I think it's better to do it early and let people know so they can make other plans than wait and have everyone put those plans on hold when you're going to cancel it.
But I don't know that they know that they're going to cancel.
They'd be idiots for not knowing that already.
Okay. But wait, let's look back at SARS. SARS was a huge thing, and SARS all of a sudden went away.
Yep.
So, should Apple cancel it? Before they know that they have to cancel it. I mean, maybe by mid-March, things are starting to slow down, like they did with SARS. And then, by mid-April, there are no new cases. Well, then they're fine.
Well, how about this? How about Apple just simply postpone WWDC? They're doing it in San Jose. It's not like San Jose is the tech capital of the world or anything. They could easily move it to August, September, whatever other period of time. I think it's the height of hubris for Apple to think that WWDC is so important, whether it be to Apple alone or to the developer community or whatever, that they have to do it in June. So they have to do it at all.
I don't think that's a consideration at all. I really don't. I mean, Apple is holding it in June, the same time every year, because people can plan. Yep. They know it's coming in June. Whatever week it is in June, developers and companies are blocking off the entire month of June
Yes.
until Apple announces the actual date,
Yep.
whether it's, it starts on June 1st or 8th or 15th or, whatever it is. So I don't think that they're being irresponsible right now. I think that they are being responsible right now in waiting to see what happens.
Yeah.
Now, if all of a sudden, the count of coronavirus goes up and it's still not contained and Apple opens up registration, okay, then I got to ask some questions.
But that's my point. You're saying companies have blocked off June by not releasing those companies from that block. They are making people make plans for something that probably isn't going to happen.
No, but they don't know that it's going to happen or not happen yet. That's what I'm saying. They don't know yet. And I think that's fair. If companies are looking 30 days out, which if you look across the industry, except South by Southwest, you look across the industry, they are talking about 30 days out. So any events in the next 30 days are being canceled. Right? So Apple is not within that 30-day limit. So I think that they're perfectly within their rights at this point, not taking registration and looking 30 days out.
Let's move on. I saw this tweet from Steve Wozniak over the weekend, and it really pissed me off.
Me too.
You see this?
Yep.
Steve Wozniak tweeted, checking out Janet's bad cough. It started January 4th. Now, Woz posted this on March 2nd. We had just returned from China and may have both been patient zero in the U.S.
What an idiotic thing to say.
People are trying to excuse Woz for this. Oh, he was just joking. It's his sense of humor. I don't care what the reason why Woz did this. He and his wife Janet are idiots. If you got a bad cough that lasts for more than 7 days, go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Wozniak doesn't have any health care payment issues. He's got all the money in the world to go to any doctor he wants to say, hey, my wife isn't feeling well, I'm not feeling well, let's get us tested. Whether there was coronavirus around or not, but there was. On January 10th was when we first started to hear about this, and the CDC started telling people to get tested. They waited another 2 months for this.
Yeah.
God, if he had been, and he's not, his wife just had bronchitis, if they had been carriers, he'd been walking around, one of the most popular guys in tech, meeting dozens and hundreds of people a day, spreading this. That is just the most irresponsible thing. I love Woz as an icon of tech, but as a human being, he's an idiot sometimes.
Well, I mean, I don't think that there was any excuse for what he did there. And my girlfriend went to Boulder, Colorado last week, and she got the flu because she's not used to the cold weather. So she went out there, she got the flu. I mean, in Canada, we all get the flu every year. It's just, it's part of what we do. She grew up in California. She has no idea, what the flu is. She thought she had the coronavirus, and, she went to the doctor at urgent care in Boulder, and they said, you have the flu.
Yeah.
And, she described the symptoms to me, but these days you really do have to be careful.
Sure, yeah.
But, she's not posting on social media, oh, my God, I think I have the coronavirus.
Yep.
I mean, it was just irresponsible. That is not a joke.
No.
In these times when people are actually dying, that is not a joke. It's like saying, oh, I think I might have flipped a switch on the gas chamber. I mean, no, you can't do that. So, I was not impressed at all.
He has said some dumb things in the past, but usually you laugh them off as, oh, it's just Woz being Woz. But this one should not be laughed off. This was a dangerous thing for Woz to say, a dangerous thing for Woz to joke around about, and he should be raked over the coals.
Well, and maybe he actually believed it. Who knows?
I don't care what his reasoning was, but it's especially again because he walked around for almost January, February, almost 2 full months. At some point, thinking I'm sick enough to get other people sick, whether it was coronavirus or flu or whatever it might be. It's just a ridiculous thing.
And I think Janet said she had a sinus infection.
Yeah, something. It was something. It was serious, but not awful.
Well, I mean, the sinus infection is no joke.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it hurts.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's not the coronavirus, and it's not as contagious, and it's not. I was not impressed with that at all.
Nope,
I really wasn't.
Really pissed me off. Made me lose a lot of respect for Woz.
Yeah, well,
let's move on. I posted an article on The Loop called 4 Reasons Why Removable Battery for the iPhone is a Horrible Idea. A Dutch newspaper earlier this week says that the European Union is drafting legislation that would legally require tech companies to make products with batteries that users could easily replace on their own. What do you think of this?
I think it's stupid.
Do you want removable batteries?
No, but I think that the government should stay out of this. If there's a particular company, let's say that Apple or any other company started selling their phones and it only came with 50% battery, and they could prove that it only came with 50% battery to start off with, to either make you buy something new or whatever, then that's a problem that you have with that company. As a government, sue them and, move on from there.
Yep.
But, I mean, governments are getting into everything.
Yep.
And I really don't agree with that. I mean, the Russian government wants to put apps on all of the phones so that they can track people. And we've seen what that does in China. And, is that the best thing? Probably not.
The thing is, though, that the markets have spoken on this one. The consumer has spoken on this one. There were, before the iPhone, all kinds. Every phone, I think, had a removable battery, and you bought an extra battery because the phones only had 35 seconds of battery life. We get that.
Right. Yeah.
Then, when the iPhone came out, a lot of us bought Mophie cases or external batteries or things like that because we wanted the extra juice. For the most part, nowadays, my phone easily lasts me the full day when I'm out and about.
Oh, yeah.
If only because there's all kinds of places for me to charge now. I've got the car. If I go to Starbucks, I can plug into Starbucks. You go to someone's office, they've got a cable or they've got a wireless table that you can put them on or whatever it might be. The market doesn't need removable batteries anymore. But
my battery right now is full.
Yes.
It is full. And I drove probably an hour today total, not even an hour. I'd say 40 minutes I drove today, which when I drive, I have a plugged in. So 40 minutes I drove today. My battery is full. Now I've watched YouTube videos. Yeah. I've done work. I've had maps going. Everything. And my battery is pretty much full. I just looked at it.
Yep.
So no, there is no need. No, if in 2005, there was probably a need for this legislation.
Yep.
Now there's not.
Yeah, like I said, in 2005, I agree with you. I would have gotten this legislation, but nowadays the market has said, the consumer has said that they don't need to buy phones with batteries. Manufacturers are making phones that have longer and longer battery life. The phones are thinner now because of it. Because there's no doubt that if you force companies to do this, our phones are automatically going to get thicker. Because right now, Apple's battery, if you've ever seen the inside of an iFixit teardown of the iPhone, the battery is not just a regular rectangle. It's a whole bunch of different shapes stuffed
Right.
into various gaps inside the circuit board.
Exactly.
Apple couldn't make a replaceable battery
They
in
could
the
not.
form size of an iPhone now and get the same battery life. It's not
Right.
possible. The batteries would have to be thicker. This is a dumb thing for the EU to stick their nose into.
Well, and again, it's government coming down on something that they think needs to be done now that should have been done 20 years ago, or 15 years ago. Would I have loved that? Because I used to carry extra batteries
Yeah,
with me.
me too. Yeah.
I used to carry extra batteries for everything, but it's not a necessity anymore. So it's like they're 15 years late to the question that needed to be answered,
Yeah.
and it doesn't need to be answered anymore.
Dave D in the IRC chat room makes the point. He says, I think the rationale is to reduce e-waste, not a consumer convenience issue. But that's not a given that it would reduce waste. The idea is that when phones batteries die, you throw them away and you get a new one. But that wouldn't be the case here. But that's not a given. People might still do exactly that, throw the damn things away and get a new one. Because especially when it comes to Android phones, they're so damn cheap. It's just as easy to get a free one from your telephone company.
So, like you said, I think the thing that really comes into play here is that Apple has designed its own batteries to take up every bit of space that's in the iPhone and the MacBooks, for that matter. They have designed their batteries. They're layered, they're scaled, they're everything to give you the best battery life. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. They're going to do more harm than good with this. As the Fast Company article says, bye-bye water resistance. There's no way you're getting a phone that's got the water resistance of an iPhone, IP7, IP6, whatever it is, with a removable battery. It's just not possible. You can't have a removable battery and have water resistance.
Well, I mean, yeah. They can't possibly seal off everything that they need to seal off. And, to Dave's comment, I get the whole environmental aspect of it, but the problem with that is what Apple is doing already for environmental. I mean, they are, I have to think they are ahead of the curve and ahead of all other companies in environment.
Yeah.
And what they're doing to take apart these phones and to redo everything that's in there and to take out different components and to make sure that all of this is done properly.
Yeah.
And that's a huge thing. And we've all seen the video of Apple's machine that does that.
Yeah.
That takes apart, the iPhones to do this. So it can't be that, because Apple has already solved that problem. So if the environmental issues aren't the problem, then is it the consumers that are the problem? But I will tell you from my own experience, and I have had every single iPhone that has ever come out, every single one.
Yeah.
And I've had Blackberries, I've had Motorola's, I've had the old Nokias, I've had absolutely everything. And back in those days, would I like to have, an extra battery for my Motorola Razr? Well, sure, because it only lasted half an hour. Yep. You basically had to have an extra battery. But that's not the case anymore. So that's where I'm not understanding what they're trying to accomplish.
I think, as Dave D says, yeah, Jim, but the legislation isn't aimed just at the iPhone. I think that's the problem, is that the legislation is aimed at all phones, and Apple's iPhone is just being caught up in this. Go ahead.
So again, I say, if and Dave brings up a good point, but if you know that there is a company that is, not so great on battery, maybe on purpose to make sure that you have to go buy a new Samsung,
Yep.
then you deal with that. You deal with that problem. Because I honestly don't see a problem. I could probably go a good day and a half on my battery. The way that it sits now, and I have a Mac, so it has the biggest battery. I get that, but I could probably go a day and a half. I can go almost 2 days on my Apple Watch. Definitely not a full 2 days, but pretty close. So, if there's a problem that a government needs to look into, then look into that problem.
Yeah, this is certainly a problem looking for a solution, and it's not even that much of a problem anymore. The consumer doesn't care anymore. You don't see very many people clamoring for removable batteries in their phones.
No.
Maybe hardcore road warriors or techie, nerdy guys want them for that, but that's a very small percentage of the market. The average consumer no longer cares.
Honestly, I don't even see that.
Yeah.
I see... because we have the Mophis and because we have all this stuff. And there was a time that I had a Mophie on my phone all the time. And I don't need it anymore because I don't travel as much. And that was mostly a traveling thing.
That's right.
So I would go to trade shows. And, when I was at NAMM in L.A. or Anaheim for a week, you actually needed that extra battery space. That was something that you really needed. So I had a Mophie on my phone all the time. Now, I haven't been there in a couple of years. So is that something I would need now? I don't know. Probably, because you're just going all day long.
Yep.
But that's not normal use.
That's right.
That was extreme use. So...
let's move on. In slightly sad news this past weekend, MacSurfer.com shut down.
Yeah.
Phil said to dear MHN readers, not seeing a viable future with subscriptions, MacSurfer and TechNN will cease operations effective immediately. Allow a few weeks to process fork and refund, blah, blah, blah. Thanks kindly for your support. Thanks for the memories, MacSurfer's headline news team. MacSurfer was a news aggregator. They didn't add much to the website. They just basically collated links to other websites. Do you think it was time for MacSurfer to go away, or is this actually a sad thing?
No, it is a sad thing. But yes, I do think. But what's the difference between what MacSurfer did and TechNN does? They don't add anything either.
That's right.
So yeah, I mean, I remember using MacSurfer like back in the day. I'm talking late 90s.
Yep, me too. Yep.
I remember using that, and I mean, it's a very tough thing to see these things go away, but we're in a completely different market right now than what we were back then. And MacSurfer certainly served its purpose. I'm sad to see it go. I really am. Because, like Mac Central back in the day, it was one of those things that you could always count on. But I just don't know that it's needed.
I think the problem with MacSurfer may have come once, and it's past its prime now, but once RSS feeds became very popular, it was easier for me to customize my own virtual MacSurfer page than it was to go to MacSurfer.com. Right. I could weed out the websites that they referred to that I didn't like, that I didn't think had any real value, and just create my own version of MacSurfer. And because MacSurfer didn't have an RSS feed, I stopped going to the website years ago. Once I had curated my own RSS feed to be exactly what I wanted, there was no need for me to go to MacSurfer. So
no, you're absolutely right.
So, and then the other issue with Mac Surfer was they didn't add any value. Now, it can be argued fairly that the Loop is, to a certain degree, an aggregator of links, but we add our own content to it as well. We add our own thoughts, our own opinions. There are forums, there's comment sections on the Loop. So it's not exactly the same. We do add value that hopefully people do see the value in and subscribe and click on the ads and do whatever they need to do to give Jim money. But I was surprised to see Mac Surfer still around even in the last 5 years because and the other thing is Phil wasn't really known as a friendly, nice guy. I interviewed him maybe 10 years ago on Your Mac Life, and he was an absolute pain in the ass to get to agree to come on the show. He was very proprietary about the information before the interview. He really didn't want to. I had to convince him in a nice, friendly way that it would be something good because I was interested in how they did their thing and what his thoughts on the news were about. But he didn't ever really seem to be all that excited about it. You never saw him. There was never a podcast. You never saw him get involved in the Macintosh media community. You didn't see him talk about things. He was very much on his own over there in the Mac Surfer universe without ever talking to or about anyone else. And so to a certain degree, it's not that he had it coming, but I don't think he worked hard enough to be part of the community. That's not a reason why he should have gone away, but it's certainly one of the reasons why it lost favor for me. That's for sure.
Well, and, if that translates, though, I mean, if that lost favor for you, it probably lost favor for other people. And, it's a difficult thing when you're talking about shutting down your entire business.
Yeah.
And that's what he had to do. So
Monty makes a point. He says, Shawn, you kind of saw the same thing of no future in subscriptions and the issues you had with Your Mac Daily and the subscription newsletter. The problem with a lot of subscription newsletter email type things is scale. You need to have 10,000 people right off the bat in order to make money off the 100 people who are willing to spend things on. I had 500 people on the Your Mac Daily, but if those 500 people aren't paying a dime for it, if they're not clicking on the ads, if they're not doing anything, there's no point in continuing the job unless you're doing it for the love of it. I'm doing it for money. So I'll be the first one to admit that. You've got to have scale in order to be able to make money off the very few people, sadly, who are willing to pay for content on the internet.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. It's a sad thing, but it's true.
Yep. Dave Mark posted a Galaxy S20 Ultra versus iPhone 11 Pro Max speed test. There's also stories on the web about the cameras. The Galaxy S20 Ultra has got apparently an amazing 10, 30, 100 times zoom, and comparing it to the iPhone. Are these comparison tests of any real value to, let's be specific, to iPhone users? Do you think an iPhone user would read one of these reviews, comparisons between the iPhone 11 and the Galaxy S20 and go, you know what? I'm going to get rid of my iPhone and get a Galaxy S20 Ultra?
No, I don't think so.
Neither do I. I don't see why even doing the reviews against the iPhone. You're not going to convince somebody who's using an iPhone to switch to a Galaxy S20. It'd be better if you compared it against the Huawei phone or the latest whatever phone that's an Android-based phone. These comparison tests with the iPhone really seem like a waste of time to me.
Well, I mean, in one way, it does make sense that they want to compare the iPhone because people are switching to the iPhone all the time. Yeah. People are buying. So, of course, they want to say, the iPhone is not that great. But will that convince people? Overall, I don't think it will. I mean, there's so much more to the iOS ecosystem than, that piece of hardware. Yeah. And I think maybe price-conscious buyers would say, excuse me, yes, maybe I'll do that.
Yeah.
But if they did, I think it would only be for, one generation of phone, and then they would come back. I just don't see it as a huge thing. If you want to compare the iPhone to your, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. It holds no value to me. I don't read those reviews. I don't care about those reviews because I'm not in the market for the Android version of the test. So there's no point in me saying, because either I'm going to feel indifferent or I'm going to feel bad that my phone isn't as fast, or I'm going to feel superior that my phone's faster. I don't have time for all that crap. There's no need for it.
I do not. And I do not feel superior. I feel like I have something that works for me, and that's what I'm going to use.
Yeah.
And it's not just, the iPhone that works for me. It's the iPhone, the iPad, the Mac. It's everything in there that works for me.
Yeah.
So that's what I want.
As the folks in the IRC chat room are saying, MacMan, who works in retail, says we've had a couple people buy 11 Pro Maxes at work just for the camera. I know one had a Note 10 Plus. Monty says the camera is a very compelling reason to buy a iPhone Pro Max. If I had the money, I'd probably do it. Yeah, absolutely. I'll take a better version of the phone that runs the operating system that I've already got, but I've got no interest in switching from the iPhone to an Android phone. But you're right, Android users, these articles might be instructive for Android users who are either wanting to stay with an Android device and saying, okay, the iPhone's not as good for cameras, or learning that, hey, maybe the iPhone is better for other things. But yeah, for me personally, these don't do anything for me at all.
It didn't do anything for me. I mean,
it's like this story saw on Apple Insider. Corellium exploits an iOS jailbreak to install Android on the iPhone. Why? Why would you do this?
Exactly.
Why would you? Why? Hey, I've got a Ferrari. Let me put a Volkswagen engine in it. They're just stupid. I've got a perfectly aged Alberta steak. Let me put ketchup on it. Don't be an idiot.
Yeah,
I've got a perfectly good bottle. Let me put Heineken in it. Come on.
Hey.
Just see if you're paying attention. That's all. Back off.
What do you think I'm drinking right now?
Exactly. The thing you're always drinking.
You just back off.
But yeah, I don't understand why anyone would want to do this. Now, it only works on the iPhone 7 or 7, I think 7 Plus, and it's a limited edition. It's not going to work in every single way. You've got to be the nerdiest of the nerd to want to be able to do this. This is not a story that I have any interest in at all.
None.
Not doing it.
Ugh.
Have you ever used Android?
So I've used it at stores.
Yeah.
And it was slow and it was clunky, and I didn't really know what to do with it. Now, the part about not knowing what to do with it could be just habit. You know, I'm used to doing things one way in iOS, but the slowness, that's a different thing. I mean, you can't. Slowness is a thing that's inherent in the system and the hardware. So, yeah. Let me ask you a question. It's my turn to ask a question.
All right, fire away.
What did you think of the night mode photos that Apple released?
As I said on Twitter, this is an unpopular opinion, but Jesus, they were crap.
Really? You think?
There were 6 photos. One of them was spectacular. The red tree was just amazing. I want to know how they did it. That was an incredible photo. The other ones are, at least 2 of them are literally just boring as shit. They're not special photos. And I'm sorry, but Phil Schiller, you know, Phil, you're a great guy and all that, but you're an idiot. And the first photo in Apple's newsroom, the photo Konstantin Chalabov, Phil Schiller says, "Where's the driver? Where are they going?" Okay, first of all, they're in Russia, okay? So they're just in the snow, you doofus. And secondly, where's the driver? He's taking the photo! God, Phil!
Come on. I love Phil.
Jesus. And then now the other thing is, this is something the photographers among us notice. Those photos at those sizes on Apple's website look lovely, some of them, but go ahead and click through the photo and look at it full screen. They look like shit full screen. They lose all detail in the edges. They lose all detail in people's faces. They're not good photos from a technical point of view when you look into them.
Are you being too harsh here?
No. These are supposed to be the best of the best. The Russian photo of the laundry, are you freaking shitting me? That's just a stupid waste of time photo. Why would you even take that photo? It's laundry hanging on a wire. Come on.
Well, one. I
know it won. And then the other street photo of people standing around in Beijing China cooking food. Really? Apple said they had thousands and thousands of submissions, and this is the sixth best to come up with?
That's coronavirus right there.
Yeah, no shit, yeah. The only one that was even, the red one, the tree in Mumbai, India, spectacular. I want to know how he got that shot. That is a spectacularly beautiful shot. That's the only one I could say that of. The other one, the one in Pamplona, Spain, that's a shot anybody could get at any time of the day or night. That's a silhouette shot. It's nothing spectacular from a technical point of view, and that's what they're talking about. They're talking about the technical aspects of night mode on the phone. That was a nothing shot. That was a complete nothing shot. The shot of Norway.
I honestly think you're a bit harsh on
yes,
this.
I should be harsh.
I really do.
I should be harsh.
Really
These are prize winners. These are the best of the best, and they're not very good.
I don't know. I mean, seems to me you're harsh.
Yes, I am. What did you think of them?
Well, I mean, come on. I can't take anything but a blurry photo, even on the phone, that allows me to take nothing but the crispest, clear photos of all time, and I still make it blurry. So I thought that they were all pretty amazing.
Really? So the shot of the laundry in Russia, you thought that was an amazing photo?
Well, I mean, come on. Could I take that? No.
Yes, you could have. Anybody could take that shot. There's nothing difficult about that shot. You stand in that spot, you point your camera, you hit the shutter button. There's nothing creative about that shot. It's just standing there and going, oh, look, laundry. Click.
No.
See, this is my problem with these images, is that they are not, for the most part, not challenging images. Anybody could get these images. They're not special images. The night market in Beijing, not a special shot. You can get that anywhere. The laundry shot, not a special shot. It's not that, you know what I'm saying? It's not that interesting a photo from either a creative point of view or a technical point of view. There's no challenges in either of those photos.
No, well, I don't know. I mean, you know more about it than I do, so.
As MacMan in the IRC chat room, MacMan says, those are nice shots, but not prize winners. That's what I'm saying. I want prize winners. Remember when Austin Mann posted his first iPhone Max shots when he was in China? And he had that incredible shot of the man fishing, and he had that light.
Yeah.
That is a prize-winning shot. That shot I would give 1,000 prizes to, because it was a beautiful shot, well composed, interesting. It captured your imagination. It made you want to know more about the shot. That's the kind of shot I'm talking about. A shot of laundry hanging in an apartment building in Moscow? Come on, that's not an award-winning shot. That's not a prize-winning shot. That's not a compelling image that Apple should be portraying.
Okay.
Anything else?
No.
All right.
That pretty much does it right there.
I will let you go. I know you're having fun hanging out with friends at the bar. I appreciate you being here. Folks, we're talking to Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. His podcast with Dave Mark is the Dalrymple Report up on the iTunes store. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Shawn.
Talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And it's to completely screw up the ending with Jim. My apologies. When we come back, we're going to talk to Melissa about exactly this. We're going to get her opinions live of what she thought of these photos, the award-winning photos from Apple. For those folks who are listening live, pretend there's music playing right now. We'll be back in 2 minutes. This is your Mac Life. Welcome back to Your Mac Life, folks. Thank you guys very much for joining us here this Wednesday evening, whether you tune in live or listening in to the archive. In our starting point photography segment on tonight's show, we're going to talk about the Apple Best Shots Night Mode. Now, we just did a segment with Jim Dalrymple on this, but we're going to do this now. Would you get back in the frame? What are you doing?
It's the puppy.
Are you going to pick the puppy up? Pick the puppy up. Might as well do it while you can. Come on.
Oh my God.
Yeah, puppy's gaining weight. Puppies gain weight faster than I am. Come on, get up there. Come on. Wasting my time, lady. There you go. There you go, the puppy. You can see him. He's licking everything. Sherry should be here because look at that. Lick, lick, lick. He gets licked.
Sherry would give her life for you.
She would. Jesus. Oh, dear. He's such a cute puppy. Completely derailed the show. Apple reveals the best night mode shot on iPhone shots. They had, I think, 10 judges. Apple claims there was a curated panel of judges selected 6 winning photos from thousands of submissions worldwide. Winning images will be featured in a gallery on Apple.com and Apple Instagram. Winning photographers represented countries from China, India, Russia, and Spain, sharing their various perspectives of the beauty and colors of the culture surrounding them. Now, first off, some idiot website, and I've forgotten who it was, said, what, no winners from North America? Shut up, you xenophobic bastard.
Did you watch the Academy Awards?
Oh, my God, a South Korean company won.
It
Doesn't matter what country they're from. It doesn't matter what nationality the person is who's taking the picture, you asshole. God damn it, that pissed me off. So, Melissa, these are the 6 winners. These are the best of night mode photos. So, we're using the iPhone 11, the iPhone 11 Pro, iPhone 11 Max. Now, you've seen what night mode can do. We've taken some pictures that, we're sitting there live. I'll take a picture of the puppy. We're lying in bed. I'll take a picture of the cute little puppy face, and we'll look at them and go, it's dark, and yet this is the picture that came out. Just wonderful capabilities of night mode on the iPhone. So here we go. I'm going to block Melissa's face while I do this. So Melissa, you just get ready for that. So tell me what you think of this photo, Melissa. Oops, hang on. There we go. What do you think of that as a photograph?
I think it's a great story. It's telling a photograph telling an interesting, intriguing story. It's got depth. It's got texture. It's got composition. I like it.
I agree. I like this shot. This is not. I don't think this is a spectacular shot.
But it's a good shot.
But it's a good image. It's not a bad image. This is one of those images that, and this is something I always try to tell folks, anybody can get this image. This is an image that anybody can take. There's nothing, except for the fact it's freezing freaking cold in Russia, there's nothing that's spectacularly difficult about this shot. So don't think that you can't take these images either. One of the issues I have with the shot, though, is, and this is what we were talking about with Jim, is when you zoom in on the shot to any kind of degree, you can see, look at all this blotchiness. Now, that's because probably Apple heavily compressed it for the web, but in my opinion, they shouldn't have. They should have left this as a nice, clean shot, because what it tells me is that, according to Apple, these images aren't good blown up. If you wanted to print this off at whatever size it was, it may not come out very well. That's not a good, in my opinion, advertisement for Apple and their products. Okay, this is shot number 2. What do you think of, come here, stop it, this image?
Meh. No.
Why do you say meh?
Well, I know it's got a central sort of a leading line, I suppose. It's like the composition of it is decent. It just doesn't thrill me. It doesn't titillate me. It doesn't.
Sadly enough, this is also a shot anybody could get. This is not an interesting photo.
Not really.
If there had been maybe people in it talking across the laundry, that might be interesting. Maybe it was in daylight. Maybe that'd be more interesting.
And the laundry isn't particularly colorful.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah.
In some countries, it could be like beautiful saris flowing in the wind, but that doesn't, it's a towel, and I can't really see what else there is, but it doesn't really do much.
Monty says the laundry is totally boring. There's no subject telling a story. The story the story is laundry, but that's not an interesting story. This won an award. This is one of the best night mode shots, according to Apple.
Okay.
But anybody could get this shot. This is not a difficult shot to get.
No. Anybody
who lives in a crowded city has seen this shot, has come home and walked around their apartment block and seen this shot. It's not a compelling story in any way, shape, or form.
No.
This is the only one that really, really caught me. This is the one that really, really made me sit up and take notice, so to speak. This shot.
Oh my goodness.
I have no idea how they got the shot, what the situation is, but it's a beautiful image.
That really is, yes.
Now, obviously, there's a light source that's red that makes this field and this tree red, but now one of the things is Apple said that you could manipulate your photos. They didn't have to be straight out of the camera. You could process them. So this might be post-processed in a way. Even if it is, it's still a beautiful image.
A bit too much sky.
I think the sky is up there. It's a good point, but if you look closely at the sky, you can see stars in it.
Oh, I can't see that. That's beautiful then.
I think that's why Apple likes it, because as a night mode photo, it shows you can capture, even though you can capture bright foreground, you can also capture light in the sky, or stars in the sky. I think this is a beautiful image, and this image is definitely worthy of a prize. I would have no problem giving this image all the props in the world as a wonderful, wonderful image. Another image. This one needs a little bit of an explainer because I don't think enough people understand what's going on in this one. Can you see it?
Okay.
This is in Pamplona, Spain. The color of this night mode image is a captivating orange, beautifully framing the band of pilgrims in sharp silhouette. The crackly details in the foreground rocks add to the story of the long and difficult journey ahead. People think this is real. This is an art installation. These are statues.
Oh.
This is not people walking along the hill. This is I don't know what kind of statue, but these are statues.
All the extensions.
I don't know what those are.
Sky?
I don't know what the sticks are, whether they're flagpoles or for fabric or whatever it might be. I don't know. So that's thrown a lot of people off. They haven't read the description, don't realize this. He didn't capture people walking, basically. This is an art installation. This is something anybody can walk up to and capture this shot.
I'd like it better if it was real people.
Yes.
Real pilgrims. But...
If it was real people, at least the shot would be more challenging to get because you had to be there in the right place in the right time. But because it's statues, again, anybody can go stand here
I could take that.
at 6 p.m. at night and take this image. There's no challenge to the image, which is why I don't think it's worthy. The colors are lovely,
Yes.
but
This is silhouette.
this is a simple silhouette shot. Anybody can create a silhouette shot. They're easy. You think they're hard, but they're not. They're actually a very easy shot to get. So that, again, doesn't do anything for another 6 shots. And we've looked at 1, 2, 3. We looked at 4 of them, and only one of them has made us go, that's an award winner. Here is shot number 5. This is in Norway. Shot of a winter village by the sea, which must feel cold yet looks warm, with the glow against the rocks and lights inside the red cabins, inviting a story about the people inside.
I'm sorry, that foreground there, is that the ocean?
Yes, this is going to be water in the foreground and on the left, and obviously snow and a hill or a mountain peak behind them.
I like it. I think it's, again, it makes me have a lot of different feelings and questions, and I think, wow, imagine living in a place like that, and it's got a central piece there, the big mountain or rock at the back, and the color. I wish there was more color coming out of the little village.
Yep.
I don't need, are there stars there?
No, there's no stars in this shot.
It's decent. I would say it's the tip, similar to the first one that we looked at in regards to...
I really like this image. I can see myself printing this image. If I'd taken it, I'd print this image off. I think it's a beautiful image. It's not technically difficult.
No.
All you had to do was find the rocks to climb up. Maybe it was difficult to climb the rocks. I don't know. But there's no challenge, really, to getting this shot. Just going there and standing there and taking pictures over a period of time. Or, hey, it's dark at 9 o'clock. I'll go walk up on that cliff over there and take pictures of the village.
I like I'll say juxtaposition of the warmth of feeling of the village with the cold all around it.
And if I was the photographer, I would edit this to make those colors pop even more.
Yeah, if it was just more of a color there, it would be better.
Even if I had to oversaturate them more than what it was in real life, I would definitely do that to make that village pop out. It's a lovely image. I like the image. Is it an award-winning image? Would you give this image an award?
Probably not first place, no.
Yeah, good point. The red one would definitely be first place.
Yeah.
Yes, I think this could be if it was a specific landscape award process, I'd say yes, this would be a good award-winning landscape
More than the
photo.
first one.
Definitely more than the first one. Yeah, Monty says second place. And finally, here's the last one in Apple's list of... Remember, these are the best night mode photos from thousands of submissions, according to Apple. You should see the look on Melissa's face right now, folks.
No, I don't. It's too...
This represents iPhone at its best, capturing life as it happens, no matter what the light is. The sense of moment, intimacy, and place in this image is very good. It really transports the viewer to being right there. I don't want to be right there.
I don't think it's doesn't. I don't feel that way about it at all.
Actually,
I don't want to be there.
No, absolutely. It's just
find it grungy. And,
it's Beijing. It's a little street scene in Beijing.
Yeah.
We could recreate this photo in Chinatown in any city in North America. It's not that big a deal of a photo.
Oh my goodness, no way.
Monty says the street food one is even more boring than the laundry. And then again, when you zoom in on these things.
Oh, no, that's a terrible. Look at all that is an awful photograph.
Look at how the image just goes to shit as soon as you zoom in even a little bit. Everything gets blurry and mushy and it falls apart very quickly.
Surely there were better photographs that were
This is what I'm saying. Apple says these are the best night mode photos of their competition. And I got to say, judges, you all need to step your game up. Because either you had thousands of shitty photos or you're shitty judges. Because these are not 6 award-winning photos, in my opinion.
No.
The red one, definitely. The Norway one, yeah, as Monty says, second place. But the other ones, the laundry and the street scene are frankly boring photos. The Russian truck one was okay.
It was okay. It was interesting. And then the sculpture one from Spain was...
The sculpture one, once I understood it, became less interesting. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, well, that's really good. But then when I realized it was just a sculpture, then I realized anybody can take that photo. That's not a photo that was a challenge for anyone to take, iPhone or not. I was very surprised. I was very surprised that Apple...
I don't know why. Apple's had competitions before, and I haven't liked their selections.
Yeah, we certainly have. Yeah, Monty says, if there weren't better submissions, then there's a problem. And if there were better submissions, why'd they pick these 6? You know what I mean? It was disappointing. I remember when Apple announced the contest, I thought, oh yeah, this would be fantastic. I love seeing this kind of stuff, and yet they came up with a list of really boring stuff. Got an email from Mark Pullman. Mark is in South Carolina. Let me just grab the first email. Mark said, where'd he go? My absolute favorite website for all news, Mac servers headline news, is ceasing operation. Do you have a favorite single website that's even half as good? I asked him if he did. I asked Mark if he did RSS. I found a website called techinvestornews.com/Apple, another link aggregator site, and then machash.com, another link aggregator site. The problem with both those sites, TechInvestor and MacHash and MacSurfer, is that they both included a lot of websites that I don't have a lot of respect for, that I don't want to read their news because it's just regurgitation of things I've read other places with better commentary. iClarify is a perfect example of a website that just shouldn't be around. It's just a complete waste of space. iLounge nowadays used to be the best iOS website out there. Now it's just a crappy website. Both techinvestors.com and MacHash include iLounge in their list, and so they're not of value. I have to do too much sifting through their chaff to get to the wheat. So for me, I use RSS feeds, and Melissa and I have talked about this before. RSS stands for really simple syndication. And what RSS does is there's code on a website that you can save that code in what's called an RSS reader, feedly.com or Reader or other things. And when you open up, for me, it's feedly.com. When I open up Feedly, Feedly goes to all those websites that I've listed, reads their RSS feed, and then brings me any new stories that they posted to my feedly.com site. So I don't have to go to CNN every 20 minutes. I don't have to go to Macworld. I don't have to go to The Loop. I don't have to go to those websites. Those websites functionally come to me with their headlines and their stories, and I can very quickly, with a bunch of headlines, in my RSS reader, I've probably got, I'm just going to take a quick look at it. My RSS reader probably has 400 different sources. And those sources will have thousands of articles in a day. And I will go through a lot of those articles in a day, just reading the headlines very quickly. And then when I see a headline that of interest to me, I'll click on the headline, and my RSS reader, Feedly, opens up and gives me either the full article or a snippet, depending on what the originating website has decided. And I can go, okay, that's interesting. I click on the headline, I go to their website. There's no ads. It's just text. It's the internet the way it used to be. It's just a bunch of links to stuff. It's much faster. So if you like MacSurfer.com, hopefully you've got an RSS reader that you can rely on for more information. You sound like you had a question there.
Yep.
K. Wilmering. I'd appreciate some opinions. I've got a MacBook Air running Mojave, soon to be Catalina. Email from my website is forwarded from Bluehost, who wants me to pay $3 a month for a competent spam filter. Right now I'm getting a slew of spam and phishing mail every single hour. Are there any spam filters for a Mac that you would recommend for my situation? The best one is an app called Spam Sieve or Spam Sieve. Sieve? Sieve. Sieve. Spam Sieve. It's not perfect, but it's very, very, very good. Spam Sieve, the website is c-command.com/spam sieve. It's not a very good URL to read things off of. It's you can download a free trial. It's $30 straight up, and not a subscription. It's $30, and what you do is you run Spam Sieve in conjunction with your mail program with mail.app, and Spam Sieve looks at all your mail before you even see it, and according to rules that both Spam Sieve has and you've set up, it will then do what you tell it to do. So I've got a bunch of spam. Just look at my spam folder real quick. So I've got spam that says a business proposal. What I can do is tell Spam Sieve, that's crap, delete that. Or I can set up a rule in my mail filter that says any email that has the title or the subject line of a business proposal, just throw it in the trash. You can defeat spam in direct relationship to the amount of effort you're willing to put into defeating spam. That's the thing. If you don't do anything, you get lots of spam. If you work at it, after a period of time, you'll get less and less and less spam. There's a problem in the U.S. with spam because the government, the spammers have been using a freedom of speech rule that says they have a right to freedom of speech, and the government can't stop them from doing that. As long as the things that they're doing, theoretically, aren't hate speech or dangerous. Some of it is, but it's hard to do that. The other problem is a lot of spam nowadays, spam originators, are outside the U.S. They're in Russia. They're in North Korea. They're in other places that the governments can't get to. So you got to make some effort to get rid of your own spam. How much spam do you see? You have your school district email. How much spam do you get at that address?
Almost none.
Almost none.
Yeah.
Because your school district blocks the spam at their servers.
Yeah, and if there is anything, they'll put out an announcement.
Monty says spam filtering is a big component as to why I've mostly given up on my own email domain and moving back to Gmail more and more. I let Gmail handle it. That's right.
Okay.
One of the other things you've got to do is manage your mail. I've been trying to get Melissa to do this. Melissa has only ever used her school district account for all her mail, both school district and personal. And it's tough to differentiate. So if you want to sign up for a newsletter for, what's that clothing company that you like, the bamboo stuff?
Mahadevi.
Mahadevi.
Yeah.
So that email from Mahadevi gets mixed in with all your work stuff too. Sometimes it gets lost. Sometimes it gets annoying. It's like, I gotta get to work. Don't show me a sale, you know? So what you do is you've got to manage your email. I've got probably 10 different email addresses that I use on a regular basis. And I've got throwaway email addresses too. But I'm willing to put the work into blocking as much spam as I can and managing my spam. The amount of spam you get is in direct proportion to the amount of work you're willing to put into it. I've got hundreds of email rules in mail that deal with my mail in general, that go into certain folders, that when Melissa sends me an email, I get a blinking light and things let me know that she's sent me email. When newsletters come in. They go into a separate folder that I can ignore for days at a time. When news from people I know come in, it goes into a separate folder. So I manage my email. So it depends on how much work you're willing to put into this kind of stuff. Folks, that's it for tonight's show. I want to say thanks, as always, to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. What do you guys think about WWDC? If you go, do you want them to cancel it? Do you think they should cancel it, whether you go or not? What about other events, South by Southwest and that sort of thing? Has the coronavirus also affected your travel plans? Melissa and I talked off the top of the show that we're not going to go to the big city because of concerns with her Stegosaurus disease. Because of concerns with her disease, we don't want her to get sick. And you're already taking enough of a risk just going in the school district. I mean, you're dealing with little kids, little germ factories, 24/7. So I don't understand how you can do that. That's just kind of mind-boggling. You've said to me that you've been there so long, you think you built up a immunity to the.
Well, when I started working in pediatrics, I was sicker than I've ever been in my life all the time.
Yeah.
So I've probably got a really strong immune system.
Knock on wood. The last time you and I were sick?
The last time I said this, we were in the parking lot drinking champagne to go to Portugal.
That's right.
And I had said, wow, I haven't gotten sick this
year.
Yeah,
that's right.
I could feel my throat.
Yeah.
By the time we got to Portugal, I was sick as a
That's
dog,
right.
and then Shawn caught it.
A year ago this month.
A year ago this month.
Last time we were sick.
I'm...
Well, good luck to MacMan, and unless shit goes really sideways and goes to Europe in April, you stay healthy. Wash your hands a lot. That's the best thing you can do. Is just frequently wash, and do a good job of it. So thank you guys for being tuned in. Send us those emails to Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com. You have any questions for
MacMan's saying that's why he got sick in France. Yeah. Well, I remember walking around Lisbon and hearing people there were so many sick people all around us, but I'm so sorry if it was us.
That's right. No kidding. Emails to Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com. If you want to send emails to Melissa, Melissa, at yourmaclifeshow.com. Thanks very much to Jim Dalrymple, to you guys for being tuned in, whether you're listening in live or whether you're tuned into the archive. And thanks to my wife for being here and talking about your Stegosaurus disease.
My Stegosaurus. You're welcome.
Well, you've been reticent to want to talk about it.
Woman disease.
You've been reticent to talk about it, so I'm glad you finally did.
No, if it can help women, I'm absolutely
good. Folks, that's it for tonight's show. As always, I've been Shawn King.
I'm Melissa King.
And you've been listening to Your Mac Life. See ya.
Bye.